Some other structures in the brain to look at are housed around the diencephalon and in the diencephalon. If we start looking, again, this is the diencephalon, right here. But look at this structure that goes around it. It has all these yellow lines there. This structure is going to be the corpus callosum. Now the corpus callosum is going to help join the right and left hemispheres of the brain. It's really the main and only connection point because everything above it, all this area above it, actually does not connect from one side to the other side. So those commissural fibers are allowing all the transfer of information from the right to left hemispheres of the cerebrum. What you see just inside of it though, right here, this membrane will be the septum pellucidum. It's basically blocking off or preventing us from seeing what's behind it. So if we shift models, we now have a little better view of what's behind the septum pellucidum. So again, corpus callosum is right up top, but the septum pellucidum is gone, and now you can see what's in here. This open space is the lateral ventricle. So there's actually two lateral ventricles. You'll have one on the right hemisphere, one in the left hemisphere. Those lateral ventricles are where a major amount of the cerebral spinal fluid is produced. It's produced there and then sends off to be circulated throughout the entire brain. Now hopefully remember that cerebral spinal fluid is produced by ependymal cells in conjunction with capillaries. So capillaries and ependymal cells together are called the choroid plexus. And that's going to be found just inside here, producing cerebral spinal fluid. Inside this thalamus here would be the third ventricle, which you can't see, but it also would be producing cerebral spinal fluid. And then down here, if we travel down the cerebral aqueduct, this triangular region between the brainstem and the cerebellum, this would be your fourth ventricle. So just going to switch gears and look at a little bit different model for a second. This model right here is actually going to be a ventricle model. The angle you're looking at is an anterior view. As I start to rotate it, you will see from an anterior moving more to a lateral view. So what this actually is showing is if you took plastic and poured it into the opening or the spaces that are the ventricles, this is what would be formed. You have your lateral ventricle here, all the way around. And there are two, there's one back here also. You're going to have your third ventricle, which is down here. And then you have your fourth ventricle, which is all the way in the back down here. I'm going to keep rotating this to get a little better view of it. So we keep spinning it. This is now a posterior view. So again, we can see from the posterior side the two lateral ventricles. The third ventricle is up in here, it's kind of hard to notice. And then we have the fourth ventricle down here. So to orientate with the rest of the brain, coming back behind this would be the cerebellum. In front of this would be the brainstem. The corpus callosum would be just over the top of these right here. So again, just looking at the orientation from a posterior view, spinning to see a lateral view, and then continuing on up to an anterior view. So those are the ventricles of the brain. Switching gears in this model, we can still see some interesting features about the ventricles and their circulation of cerebral spinal fluid. You can see down here, this is the fourth ventricle. Here is the cerebral aqueduct heading up. The third ventricle would be inside this area, again, inside the thalamus. We can't see either of the lateral ventricles. They would be up here. But what's nice about this is we can actually see the different meninges. And these meninges play a huge role in cerebral spinal fluid. So if we're looking at the brain right here, you can see how there's a coloration, like a gray color covering it. This is going to be the meninge called the pia mater. It's a very thin, clear coat that is clinging to the brain. It curves and it goes into every indent, goes with every sulcus and every gyrus. It then, you can see, moving just a little bit behind it, you can see this pinkish coloration here. That pinkish coloration is going to be symbolic of the arachnoid mater. The arachnoid mater is going to have a space deep to it right here. It's called the subarachnoid space. It's this subarachnoid space that will fill with cerebral spinal fluid. So it circulates around the entire brain. But once that cerebral spinal fluid needs to be exchanged or replenished, it's sent through this little structure right here, which is called an arachnoid villi. It helps take the old cerebral spinal fluid and put it into a blood flow. So this blue here is actually blood. So the cerebral spinal fluid was produced from blood and is recycled into blood. And the third and final, this gray layer you see right here and here, is a part of the dura mater. The dura mater is a very thick, hard, leathery covering that's meant to physically protect the brain. So you have these three different meninges helping not only protect the brain, but aid in cerebral spinal fluid circulation.